Closing your pool soon? If you don't prep your pool the right way before closing it, you could be looking at green swamp water, stained surfaces, or even damaged equipment when you open next season. Hi, I'm Matt from Swim University, and here's exactly what you should do to your pool before you close it. You'll want to start this process about a week before you plan to add your winter cover. This gives you enough time to properly clean, shock, and treat your water. And try not to close your pool until the outside temperature is consistently below 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius. Step number 1, deep clean your pool. Any debris or contaminants left in your pool will decompose and fester after the pool is closed. So before you do anything, clean your pool surfaces as best as you can. First, you can skim out the debris. Remove all visible floating debris with a leaf net and empty out your skimmer and your pump baskets. Then, brush your surfaces. Scrub your walls, your floor, steps, and any hard to reach corners. And pay special attention to areas where algae likes to hide, like behind ladders, around return jets, and in corners. The act of brushing loosens any algae spores and gets them floating in the water where the shock can kill it. More on that in a bit. Next, vacuum. Manually vacuum your pool, getting every bit of sediment from the bottom. If you're vacuuming out a lot of algae or gunk, vacuum on the waste setting. You can check out our other video on how to vacuum to waste if you need more help with this step. Step number 2, test and balance your water chemistry. Unbalanced water sitting for months can cause corrosion or scale buildup, and bad pH levels will render your other chemicals ineffective over the off-season. So you want to test your water and pay attention to these levels. Total alkalinity, which should be between 80 and 120 parts per million. pH, which should be between 7.4 and 7.6. Calcium hardness, which should be between 175 to 225 parts per million for vinyl and fiberglass pools, and 200 to 275 parts per million for plaster and concrete pools. Now, there are some exceptions like saltwater, so check out our calcium hardness video if you're not sure about the right levels for your pool. CYA, which should be between 30 and 50 parts per million. Now, it's okay if it's a bit lower in the off season, especially if you have a solid cover and the water won't see any sunlight. But you don't want your CYA too high when you close your pool, so I recommend checking out our other video on cyanuric acid if you have high CYA issues. Get these levels right before moving on to the next step, since winterizing chemicals won't work properly if your water chemistry is off. Step number 3, add chlorine shock a few days before closing. You'll want to shock your pool at least 2 to 3 days before putting your cover on, not the same day. High chlorine levels can interfere with some of the winterizing chemicals like algicide. You'll want your chlorine levels to drop back down into range or slightly above right before closing, which means you need to give yourself a few days. By the way, if you want all of this information in one place, we break down the entire pool closing process in the Pool Care Handbook, and you can get your copy by going to swimuniversity.com/book or swimu.com/book or any of the links below. Now, for closing, use a double dose of chlorine shock. That would be 2 pounds of granular shock for every 10,000 gallons of water. Now, if you've noticed any algae during your cleanup, I recommend going with a triple dose. If you're not sure how to shock your pool or what chlorine shock is right for you, be sure to check out our other video. After shocking, you want to run your filter system for at least 8 hours, preferably overnight, to circulate the shock throughout your pool. Step number 4, clean your filter. Make sure to backwash or clean your filter one last time before you close, especially if you've just shocked the pool and the water was murky, green, or full of debris. Step number 5, add your winterizing chemicals the day of closing. Before adding your cover, you're going to want to do a few things to the water to prevent algae, stains, and contaminants from building up in the off season. So, which chemicals should you add? And should you be using a winter closing kit? Now, these kits are convenient, but you could be paying for chemicals you might not actually need. The most important chemicals are an algicide, a slow-release winter enzyme or clarifier known as a winter pill, and a stain and scale preventer. Now, here's what each chemical does and how to decide if it's worth adding to your pool. Number 1 is an algicide. Adding an algicide to your water before closing is usually worth it. It's a great way to prevent algae from growing in the off-season, especially if you have a milder winter. Look for a 60% polyquat algicide. Now, it doesn't necessarily need the word winter on it, but you want to avoid copper-based algicides if you're worried about staining. Add the maximum or startup dose according to the directions on the packaging. Number 2 is that winter pill or an enzyme ball. Winter pills are slow-release products that contain sanitizer, clarifier, and enzymes. They're not absolutely necessary, but they provide extra protection against scum lines and organic buildup. An algicide and a winter pill combo provide a lot of extra insurance to stop your water from looking like a swamp come spring. Number 3 is a stain and scale preventer. Now, if you've had issues with staining or scaling, or you have high metals or minerals in your water, adding a stain and scale preventer before closing can actually help, but it's usually not that necessary for most pools. Now, what about adding a chlorine floater with chlorine tablets in there? I actually wouldn't recommend this because a floater can get stuck and stain your pool. And when the water's colder, you don't need to worry about keeping your chlorine levels as high. Step number 6, get the right pool cover and cover accessories. A cheap cover that tears or lets debris into your pool will undo all of that careful preparation. So you want to make sure that you have a damage-free, sturdy cover for your pool. But what should you go with? A solid cover or a mesh cover? Well, solid covers keep everything out: debris, sunlight, and water. They're your best bet for keeping your water clean, but you'll need a cover pump to remove any standing water or snowmelt that accumulates while the pool is closed. Mesh covers let the water through while blocking debris. They're easier to manage and don't need a cover pump, but they offer less protection against algae growth since sunlight can reach the water. Whichever you choose, just make sure you secure it with either water bags or anchors or both. And if you have an above ground pool, be sure to install an air pillow under your cover. This acts as an ice compensator, allowing any frozen water or ice to expand safely while protecting your pool walls and cover from damage. So those are the most important things to do before closing your pool. But I'm curious, what else do you want to know about pool closing? Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section. And if you need more step-by-step guidance on closing your pool, including draining equipment, installing your cover, be sure to check out our closing section in the Pool Care Handbook. Thanks for watching, and happy swimming.